In this video, we're going to try out our BlueJ download and make sure it's working properly. Right now I have our textbook open. This PDF is available for you on my website. I'll also share a version with you in class. And I have the bookmarks tab open. Very useful to have the bookmarks tab open. I'm going to go to Lesson 1, Hello World. In here, the book describes the basic program skeleton for any Java program. We're going to learn what all these keywords mean throughout the year, like public, class, static, void. Each one has their own meaning, and it's just too much to learn for today. But today we're going to go ahead and type some of those words in and give our program a basic test. And like I said, when we complete this project, we'll know whether or not our BlueJ download actually worked or not. So in BlueJ, what I'm going to do is create a new project. So project, new project. When you create a project in BlueJ, you're actually creating a folder. And those folders are going to store all of the files within that program. So in my documents, I'm going to make a project. Okay? So I'll call this project just something like test. You can see now that I've opened up a little new environment here. I'm going to click New Class. I could name this class whatever I want, with a few exceptions that we'll learn about throughout the year. So today I'm just going to call this Tester. That's a real common class name we'll use. Whatever name you choose for your class has to be the class name we'll see. In fact, BlueJ went ahead and put this line of code in for me, public class tester, and they put some other stuff in there too, just to kind of make a generic looking, typical Java class file. Usually we're just going to delete all this. It's a nice suggestion for them, but I'm just going to go ahead. I hit Control A to select all the text, and I'll just hit backspace to clear it out of there. Now I'm going to start putting in some basic code. So public class tester. And what I'm going to do, just to make it a little easier for you at home, is I'm going to make the font size a little bit larger. So under preferences, I'm going to put my font size up to 24. I'm also going to check display line numbers so that if I want to tell you, like, look at line 3 or line 4, you can feel free to make the same changes at home. Hopefully that's a little bit easier for you to read. Public class tester. Okay, I've now put in an open brace. That's not a parenthesis or a bracket, that's a brace. When I hit enter, it's going to tab over. Some Java programs would actually put in an automatic closing brace for me too. Maybe you've programmed in a different environment before. BlueJ automatically tabs just to highlight that you're starting a new block of code. So here I'm going to write public static void main string. I'm going to put the word args with an open and a closing bracket, followed by a closing parenthesis. Now, I'm sure that looks really strange. Like I said, we are going to learn what all those words mean throughout the year, but just a little bit too much for today. And then what I did was I went ahead and I hit enter and I put in some closing braces. What we have right here is your basic Java skeleton. If you want to write an executable Java file, you need pretty much this amount of code. And now we can add to this whatever we want. So typically one of the most popular original programs to try out is Hello World. So I'm going to write system.out.println. I know it's a little confusing. That looks like the number 1, but that's actually a lowercase l. So system.out.println, open parenthesis, double quotation marks, hello world. And at the end of this statement, I'm going to put a semicolon. For our executable statements, we're always going to close them with a semicolon, with a few exceptions we will learn about throughout the year. Okay, once you have that code in there, what I'll do is I will click compile. Java has a 2-step error checking process. Okay, this is on the compile side. When we hit compile, Java checks for any syntax errors. A syntax error could be something like a misspelled word. So for instance, that word static. Let's say that I left the letter I off of static and I hit compile. It says identifier expected. That doesn't really tell me exactly what's wrong with the program, but it did highlight that line of code for me, and I might then be able to notice, oh yeah, I misspelled the word static. Or had I left off the semicolon at the end of this line, it would actually be a little more specific here and say semicolon expected. Maybe you have a typo and you can correct that now. But now I hit compile, it says class compiled, no syntax errors. That's the first stage of the error checking. The second is going to be when I execute this file. So it has a compile time and a runtime check. So that was the compile time check. The runtime check will come from here. I'm going to right click on tester, and I'm going to select right here where it says void main string args. We'll learn later in the year that what we're doing is we're running a specific method of this class, which only has one method for right now. It has a main method. So when I run this main method, it's going to put this code into action, and if everything works well, we'll get a little pop-up window that says Hello World. Go ahead and click OK. And there is that pop-up window that I mentioned, Hello World. You could change some things here too. There's actually a way to make this font larger from within the BlueJ menu. We'll try that next. But hopefully yours worked. Okay, if not, here's the code again. Maybe you can compare and find any mistakes. That's our first Java program.